it's bad again today. Sustained in the 30s, gusting 60 to 70. So let's hope everybody keeps their cigarette butts in their vehicles. No dragging chains. Nothing to start a wildfire. Let's go back in the shop and see what we got to work on. Alright, ladies and gents, what we got going on today is a little metalworking job. If y'all watched one of my previous videos, the one about getting the site prepared for shipping containers, and I got the container set and all that, at the end of it I mentioned that to get up in the container with the forklift I was going to have to build a ramp, because there's roughly like a 5 to 6 inch rise going up in there. So forklift may be able to hop up in there, empty, but carrying a pallet full of loaded down with stuff, that's not gonna work. So kind of Googled some container ramps, kind of see what was out there, what they look like. I dreamed up a design in my head kind of based on what I saw, because they're expensive to buy. So I figured I might make my own, but material is extra high. So it's like, what are you going to do? So I figured I would choose the materials I wanted to build it out of and make it myself. Hopefully it works, because if it don't, then it's all my fault. But so yeah, I dreamed up a design. I used some free CAD software on the computer to draw it up. I drew up all my parts, sent them into a local metal fab shop, had them cut them out with a CNC plas table, and here we are. Got several different parts in here, the whole pile of them there. And got a few of them on the table here. It's going to be a two-piece ramp, I'm thinking. So this here on the table is going to be what I'm calling the small ramp. It's going to be, if you're going into the container, it's going to be the first section of rise, and it's going to be 2 foot. And then when I want to move the ramp out of the way, this piece will pivot. It'll like fold up and sit on top of the larger section, and when you fold it up, it's going to expose some holes where I can stick the forks of the forklift in and pick it up and move it wherever I need it. So this, like I said, this section's 2 feet. It's going to be the first section of rise, and then there's going to be another ramp in front of it that's going to be roughly 4 foot, and it's going to go up to the level of the floor in the shipping container. So yeah, that's a introduction. I'm going to get started on the small one since it's small, so I can get my bearings, and then we'll go from there. Dingies. somebody did it. Somebody did something to start a fire. Getting a makeshift firefighting set up just in case we can help. They're just over there protecting. The wind changed.
Yeah.
It was coming from the smoke, wasn't it? Like a courthouse.
Yeah.
Where the Honda everybody Well, had a little bit of a scare there with that fire, but by the time we got over there, the fire crews had it all under control and just about wrapped up. So appreciate their service. They did good on that one. I filled up that tote of water, figuring if the wind was right and it wasn't a real dangerous situation, you know, and there was a line of fire, I would try to put it out a little bit, but they never let it cross the road to get onto any of our place, so that's good. But we did hang out there for a little bit in case any of the fire trucks wanted some more water, but no takers, so we headed home. That's always the risk with these high wind days. All the grasses and everything is just a whole bunch of fire fuel out there. They're also dry, and days like today our humidity values are down in single digits, so it's just a perfect recipe for wildfires. And we've actually had, I was trying to count before I turned the camera on, I think we've had 4 or 5 roll through this place. So it's nothing new, but you never get used to it, and it's never always kind of puts you on edge when we have a really bad day. We always usually try to have somebody at home just for that reason. So enough about that. This is how far I got on my ramp. Got my gussets tacked in there. Just putting little tacks, and I'm laying out my welds, my skip welds, doing 2-inch skip welds. Adds a little professionalism to it, I guess. That's just how I like to do things. Even though nobody's ever going to see the underside of this thing while it's sitting out there, I still like to do it that way. And I think I'm going to bite the bullet and go ahead and have some more gussets cut. I'm going to put them in between here, so I'm going to get 4 more. Just looking at it now, I just don't look like it's going to be strong enough to me. Because if I get the forklift tires over here for whatever reason, I think it's going to sag and bend. So hopefully get that done next week. And thankfully we got some lighter winds tomorrow, so I need to take advantage of that and get into some beehives. So don't know when I'll get back on this project, but I'll bring y'all back when I'm back on it. So I'll see y'all then. All right, everybody, we are back to the ramp build. It's been a while since I stopped at the first part of this video. Got hooked up on some different things, been in the bees a couple of times because we had some decent weather, needed to do stuff with them that kind of took priority. So now I've got a little bit of time. I think I can get back on it, hopefully get it finished, because I'm needing to use it. But feels a whole lot different than the first part of the video. We got a little bit of this stuff standing around. If anybody knows what it is, would y'all please tell me, because we have not seen that in forever. I thought the apocalypse might have been coming Yesterday the skies got dark. There was some loud noise coming from up above, and then stuff started falling from the sky. I thought it was the end of the world. No, just joking. We got got us a 1/4 inch rain last night, so that's put a little pep in my step. It feels like spring around here. The sparrows are chirping. We got meadowlarks out in the field doing their thing. You probably can't hear them. Got doves making their calls. Just feels like a spring day out here. Light winds. So, feels good. Got humidity in the air, which we haven't had that in I don't know how long. And the rain last night was our first measurable rain in no telling how long, maybe since last year. Literally, I don't know. But even though it was nice to get one rain, it probably won't do us much good if we don't get a few more stacked on top of it, because I think they're calling for more wind later on in the week. So, but it'll give us a little reprieve for a few days. It'll keep the dust from blowing, and hopefully the wind won't be so bad as it has been in the past few weeks, and the wildfires and the smoke, all that. Glad to not have to worry about that for a few days maybe. So yeah, let's get back to this ramp build. So since I was on this last time, I finished the little section of ramp that I had started working on. I've worked on it a little bit here and there, a few days, but wasn't ever really long enough to kind of record and make a video. But it's going to be the same process, same information really as this bigger section of ramp will be. I didn't mention it earlier, but these are made out of diamond plate. This is 1/4 inch diamond plate or tread plate. Some people call it floor plate. And then all my gussets or supports down through there are 3/8 plate. Gonna have those about every 10 or so inches on center. Yeah, I don't know what information y'all would be interested in knowing, if you're even interested. Yeah, if you got any questions that I don't answer, ask them in the comments. I'd be happy to answer it. And since the last time I was on here, I'd mentioned that I thought I was going to go ahead and get some more gussets or supports cut to put in between there. Went ahead and did that. That's part of the delay, because I had to draw up some more parts to get those cut, so I had to wait a little bit for that to get done. But I got those parts back the other day, got them all cleaned up, and they were ready to go. So I was able to finish that one up, get it painted. Now I just got to focus on this big one. So anytime I build something like this, I got a little process. I go get all my parts and I'll clean them up with a flap disc. Take the burr, the sharpness off of all the pieces. And then once I get that done, I'll lay out all my pieces with a gray pencil. So like I'll space my welds out. That's what these marks are here. I'll lay out where my parts go, like that's going to be a support going down through there. I'll pretty much lay it all out. And the reason I like to do that is just because when I'm putting it together, I can, you know, basically have the part in one hand and have my welder in the other, and I don't got to bumble around with a tape measure or anything trying to get it in the right spot. I can see it visually. And anytime I got a butt joint where it's going to be flat, I bevel it and give me a nice little weld bevel. Like that right there. And if y'all are kind of puzzled as to why that piece is there, some people may be wondering what the heck is going on with this, but this is a piece that goes on the ramp, but just not right there. Right now I got it clamped down to keep the diamond plate straight across, because I don't know if everybody knows, but kind of the thinner and flatter metal material is, the more it's going to bend and bow and stuff like that. So you can use something rigid like that and clamp it down to it, and it'll make it straight. And then I was able to put these pieces on there, and that should keep it nice and straight. Just a bunch of prep work. I'm all about prep work. So then once something starts going together, it typically goes a little faster. That's just how I like to do it. So when I get this hopefully put together, I'll bring y'all back and kind of explain my thinking behind the design and why the specific pieces are where they are and how they'll work, or hopefully work. And we'll probably take it out to a container and make sure it works, and then we'll get the welding on it. So let's get started. Good on. Oh. So if y'all noticed, I put all my tacks on one side of this plate. That's because the top was leaning towards me. So if you put all your tacks on that side, then that'll hold it in place. And you can, like I use the hammer, you can tap it and it'll kind of pivot. It'll keep the bottom in that same place. The top will pivot over, and you can do that till it's square, and then tack the other side. Another little tip for you guys. Oh yeah, that's looking beautiful. Gonna make for a nice smooth transition up in here. Fit up. I got it to go over those latching assemblies a lot easier than I thought. Get a good side view over here. I've only got it tacked together. It's not welded, so I'm not going to drive the forklift on it. And I don't have that back section on it yet. I wanted to make sure this fit up and worked before I welded it. As you can see, there's the holes for my forks to slide in. I've got, right now these are set on, they're on 26-inch centers, and that I did that because it works on pretty much every pallet, like a standard pallet, a tote. I mean, anything I'm going to pick up, it would work on that. So that's what I made those openings there. So in theory, I should rarely have to ever adjust my forks. Heck yeah, that's just how I drew it up. Can't wait to drive on it now. I'm going to take some of that chain. I'm going to weld the chain on somewhere in here so I can run it through there just as a safety to keep that thing in place. I really don't think it's going to go anywhere though. I may run it without it. This thing's so heavy, I don't think it's going to go anywhere. I don't think it's going to slip. Yeah, I think I'll see how it works without it. It'd make it a lot simpler to not have to deal with the chain every time I move it. So let's go with that. Well, while waiting on the paint to dry, let's talk about this thing a little bit. Looking at it, it's pretty heavy duty and it's pretty heavy weight wise. It might be overbuilt, I don't know, but if I'm gonna lean one way, I'd rather overbuilt than underbuilt any day of the week. And like I said, it is pretty heavy weight wise, but the thing is, I need it to hold my needs to support a forklift and a load going in that container with no issues. And the forklift itself weighs 8,830 pounds. And that's just the truck itself. That's not including a load. And for instance, like right now, I got some stuff that I need to put in the container. This 2,500 pounds per pallet. So add that to the truck, and that gives you 11,330 pounds. So this thing's got to support quite a bit of weight and hopefully not break and fall apart. If it does, maybe I need to find a better welder to put it together. But my first plans had half as many supports through there. I had these two on the end, and then I had 3 more evenly spaced in the middle. So it'd be this one, and this one. And I built that, the first small section, and I got them all in there, and just looking at it, to me, it just looked inadequate to support that amount of weight. So for better or worse, I had more supports cut out and put them in there. So now I got a total of 9. They're all on, to be exact, they're on 10 and 1/8 inch centers. And my original plans had this piece down through there vertical, up and down like this instead of flat. And my thinking, I got to thinking about that too. And my concern was maybe having all of the supports vertical like that with all that weight, this thing might just sink into the ground a little bit, kind of like a knife through butter. So I changed it up and put them flat like this just to increase the surface area that would be contacting the ground to hopefully keep it from sinking. And the previous plans only had that one support going right down the middle. When I changed it, I added this one. And kind of my thinking behind that was would have 3 areas of support like this, those 2, and then this is going to be resting on the floor inside the container, so that would be the 3rd point of support running this way. 1, 2, 3. So that was kind of my thinking there. Don't know if it's right or wrong, but it's done now. These holes in the front here are for the latch assembly at the bottom of the doors. I don't know the proper term for it. It's kind of like a cam lock type thing. There's a name out there, I'm sure, I just don't know it. And I did have them a lot smaller, tighter tolerance, but I ended up making them a lot taller this way, just so I'd have the extra tolerance to, when I brought it up there with the forklift, I didn't have to fight with it a lot to get it lined up and in place. So, and that seemed to really work well on that one test run I did. So I have these holes there with a nut welded on the inside on both sides on both ramps. That's going to be where the 2 sections attach together and they can swivel. Y'all will see that a little bit later on in the video. So I ran some of the numbers, and I'm always kind of interested in the numbers parts of things, but got some interesting facts. This whole project took about 42 square feet of the diamond plate or tread plate, whatever you want to call it. It took about, I think, 30 square feet of the 3/8 plate to do all the supports. The way I spaced my welds and everything, added up the length of weld And I think that's the most surprising thing, the way, pretty sure I figured it right, but it's over 75 feet of weld. So, wrong. It was 61 feet. I double checked it. So 61, not 75. That's quite a bit, I thought. Prior to starting, I bought 2 of these 5-pound containers of 7018 1/8-inch rod. And as you can see, I've only got 2 rods left. So it took 10 pounds of that. And it took some additional, I used 6011 1/8-inch as well. I used it to tack everything and a little bit of welding with it. So there's some additional rod weight, some additional rod weight there. And there's all the rod butts left over. So yeah, just some interesting figures, I thought. So like I mentioned earlier, if y'all got any questions about it or anything, put them down in the comments. I'll answer them. But that's about all I can think about to say about it. So once this paint dries and I get the other side painted, I'll put it together and we're going to put it to use. All right, time for the first test. I'm gonna drive the forklift on it and see what happens. Well, didn't hear nothing pop and break yet. I guess that's a good sign. Well, y'all saw it work for the first time right along with me. So it worked, but that hinge or swivel design I got going leaves a little to be desired, but it works. I'll probably end up altering it sometime in the future. So there's my tracks where I first drove up on it, and that shows an important point The supports on this small section and the big section, they're in the exact same positions, like laid out the same. So everywhere you see a gusset here, there's one in the exact same spot on this ramp underneath the tread plate. So in my first design, I spaced them out equally and had this support on each side centered under the tires of the forklift. Now I didn't drive on exactly centered on the ramp, and you probably rarely will, but the wheelbase of the front tires and the rear steer tires are different. The rear tires, they'll be more like over in here. So I put that gusset in the center of both of them to kind of give the maximum amount of support. Like if you go under here, that support is in the same spot. Now let's go put it on the container and load some pallets. See how it does then. Let's ease on up there, put this thing in place. There we go. Now let's nudge it forward, get it all the way up there. Now let's flip this ramp over. All right, let's see how it does with a load. This will be over 11,000 pounds. Well, by golly, I believe that worked pretty dang good. Now, of course, that 11,000 plus, that's not all, on one tire. It's going to be divided across all 4 wheels. But still, that did pretty good, I thought. That big one, it didn't bend at all. That back one looks a little wonky because the ground's uneven, slopes to that one side. I think it did. The rear did bend a little bit back there, but shoot, I don't care about that. It's gonna form to the terrain that it's put on when you load something, I think. I'm pretty happy with that. So I don't know what else to say or show about this ramp. Besides, if I had the ability to go back in time, would I change some stuff? Yeah, absolutely. But, I don't have that ability. So as I was going through the process, I just adapted best I could. And I think I came out with a piece that's going to last me quite a while and do the job that it was intended to do. So if y'all are interested in what I'm putting in these containers or how I got these containers set up, those videos will be linked there on the page. And as far as me, I got some stuff that needs to get in here and I'm gonna get busy. So hope to see y'all on the next one.